Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I don't know if there was
Morning.
morning. I don't know if there was some confusion or what, but today is a holiday that we are recognizing. And I noticed the link was not on the calendar today, so I threw it in there. I don't know if there was maybe some discussion in chat or something whether this was going to happen, but I have a day prepared, so we are going to talk more on personal finances for sure today. So anybody just have anything in general from the past couple of days that just kind of been ripping around in your head that you had questions about, or that we didn't get to cover in the first few days? Anybody put anything into play yet? Start doing some research? Is there something in particular that stood out that you're going to act on, Keely?
I opened a Schwab account yesterday.
All right.
So I did I opened a savings and a checking. So
Nice.
yeah.
Do you mind sharing? Do you know the difference in the rates? Like, what were you getting on your checking and what were you getting on your savings compared to what you'll be getting now?
Yeah. I'm not certain what I was getting. I think barely anything. I was at Webster Bank. I wasn't
Okay.
getting much.
Yeah.
Here it's like 5.3 at Schwab.
Yeah.
So for the savings. So I did that, and then I'm telling my boyfriend he needs to do that as well. So he's at Bank of America, and I'm like, you got to get out of there. So that's on
Yeah.
the weekend. We'll do that this weekend too. So
Cool.
and he's in finance,
Cool.
so I don't know why the hell he has Bank of America, but nonetheless, he's going to switch over.
Good. Yeah. I was prior to that episode. I just took a look and I was like, oh, how do they get away with this? How do they have so many customers and give their customers so little? Like their rates were so low. Lori says when she drives by one of their offices, she gets a fee. I feel like it's the weirdest thing, but they might be the bank with the most customers. I don't know. I guess that's what marketing can do. So anybody else take action or? All right. Well, today, I had jotted down to talk about managing debt. There's a lot of different ways to tackle this stuff, and I think people maybe get a little bit confused on which way they should tackle it, etc. And then, I'd love to hear from you guys on maybe some of the strategies that you're actually using. So, I think the first thing that you got to understand when you're talking about debt is the interest rates that you're paying on the debt, right? So I think you've got to start by listing off all the different debts that you have, whether that's your mortgage, your car, student loans, credit card debt, etc. With another column that also has the interest that you're paying on those things. And in my opinion, and we're going to go through a couple of different ways that you can do this. Prioritizing the payments based on either this debt snowball method or what's called the avalanche method, and start to attack these things. So I'm going to kind of walk you guys through those two different methods. I had never heard of them. I just kind of had in my mind how I've always attacked it, but I figured I'd do a little bit of research, and these seem to be the top two ways to go about it. So, but before we even talk about how to those two methods of attack, debt snowball or avalanche, I want to make sure everybody is aware of balance transfer opportunities. Right, there are tons of credit cards out there that will offer balance transfer. So if you're getting, whatever 17% on a credit card over here, or some other loan that you've taken out, you can transfer to these credit cards where you're going to get like 0% for 12 to 24 months typically. Now there could be some fees if you don't pay it off during those 12 to 24 months, but man, going from 17% on your debt to 0% on your debt is it just makes it so much easier to start chipping away at the debt. So does anybody have any experience with doing a balance transfer or other consolidation methods? I've never done one of these. I've never done a consolidation, but has anybody done that and want to speak to it or? Okay. Well, from all the research that I did, seems very easy to do. Just make sure you understand the terms that you're signing up for. And apparently there's some that are sneaky where if you transferred 10,000 to that credit card, the interest on that is zero, but any additional charges. So if you start using that credit card as your credit card, you're going to get the 17 or 20% or whatever the crazy number is that these cards can charge. So just make sure it is 0% on balance transfer and charges for whatever period it is, 12 to, like I said, 24 months. So, okay. Lori's just saying, if you're looking to buy a house, your credit is going to get, your credit score is going to drop. So she's just mentioning if don't do any debt consolidation, or maybe talk to a professional that understands debt consolidation if you're looking to purchase. All right, so debt snowball method. So this one is you're going to write down all your debts, regardless of the interest rate. And you are going to starting with the smallest balance and ending with the largest. So that's how you're going to prioritize them. And then you're going to make minimum payments on all your debts except the smallest one. Minimum payments on all your debts except the smallest one. And the focus would be on that smallest debt to put any extra money that you have towards that one. And then the theory here is that you're celebrating the small wins. So you get that smallest one paid off. So once the smallest debt is paid off, celebrate that victory and then move on to the next smallest one and take any extra money that you have and pay down that one. So the advantage here would just be the psychological boost. So apparently for some people, the way that their brains work, this is going to be a better approach because you're getting some small wins along the way. The disadvantage is obviously the potential higher interest costs that are going to come along with this. So the debt avalanche method is you're going to list them all and then order them from highest to lowest on the interest rate. And you're going to make minimum payments on all your debts except the one with the highest interest rate. And you're going to focus on trying to get that one paid off. And once that one's paid off, then you're going to repeat and go after the next one with the highest interest rate. So the advantage is obviously here is the cost efficiency and getting rid of that, high interest debt. The disadvantages is your high interest debt could be your biggest one and it could take you a while to get rid of it. So for me personally, I just feel like going after the highest ones, that's the one that's costing me the most, would be the one that I would personally use. But I guess you got to look at what psychologically how it feels to you. But if you're in a position to just get a couple of small wins and get a couple of them paid off, that would be the way to go. So anybody have any thoughts around these two methods or any other things to just, hey, I've been through this and, watch out for this or that? Anybody want to add some thoughts? Kirk.
Yeah, I'll just say way back in the day, I remember, being in my 20 somethings and one of my mentors had helped me with that exact same strategy. So I don't know, 20 something, I got $11,000 in credit card debt. I thought it was the end of the world. So we balance transfer it to like a 0% for like 3 or 6 months. Absolutely hammered as much as I possibly could because I was still on commission back in the day. And we got it paid off in like 8 months and it was unbelievable. So we did 2 balance transfers during that period. And it was wild how you can actually attack it at that 0%. It was a great feeling.
So when you say you did 2 balance transfers, do you mean like you had 2 different credit cards that you brought into that same one, or what do you mean?
No, so one was 0% for like 3 months. So
Okay.
we didn't get it paid off in that 3 month period. So we just did
Gotcha.
another balance transfer, another 0% for another 3 months. But it was just like one of those things where you feel like you're in a rut. You're staring at the 18%, and then you transfer, and you're like, holy crap! I just gave myself 3 months of breathing room at 0%, so I'm in good shape and I can really focus.
Yeah, I think, look, I think everybody, it's very enticing, especially when you're younger. Oh, it's just free money, and I can, I got this card, and I can just swipe, and I can get things. And I think a lot of people get themselves into trouble with it if you're not careful when you're younger. And then when you get older, sometimes there's just some necessity that comes along that like you got to do it for certain things. So there's just so many reasons, and that's why I like how you are talking about the psychological impact of just the feeling. Like no matter where you are, people can come into some financial situations. Like it's nothing I just don't want people to be burying their head, and that's why I wanted to have this be one of the days. Like no shame. Okay, you had a situation that was in the past. Like how do we just rectify this thing? So, just a good point there, Kirk. And that okay, let's say you move it to a 12-month and you don't finish it off in those 12 months before you start to incur the fees. Let's get the money out of there and let's bring it somewhere else. So just do a double transfer. So interesting concept there. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else want to talk about a strategy, or go ahead, Margaret?
Morning, all. I guess it just come to my mind. Anybody with children, we should just kind of educate them about that danger and kind of have that honest conversation about that too. So sometimes we find ourselves in those situations, but you want to share that with the kids so they learn on our mistakes, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if my parents like drove it into me or not. And somehow I remember getting onto campus my freshman year, and it was like there must have been 5 different credit card companies with their banner waving and trying to get me to sign up. I think I got like a free t-shirt or something. And, I don't remember if I signed up for one or not, but I'm like, I don't know how I didn't sign up for more or whatever, or why I knew that like, hey, stay away from these things. But man, it's predatory in my opinion. I don't know if it's still like that on college campuses with these credit cards, but yeah, I think you're just susceptible as when you're younger for sure. And then when you're older, it's just out of necessity. Some expenses come along and you need them. So, and then, we mentioned this earlier in the week. The problem with our business is we don't get a paycheck every 2 weeks. Right. And so if you have a couple of good months and you pay some things off, or maybe even go and make a purchase and expecting, in the next couple of months for those same checks to come in, and then they don't, it's difficult, and it's definitely a different mindset that you've got to be in financially when you're an agent. So I've got a few more things to talk on debt and expenses, but it is the midway point. So I do want to honor the real estate roundtable portion of this call. Does anybody have anything going on a deal right now that they need to put on the table here and get help with? All right. If nobody's got anything, I wanted to go into some maybe expense optimization, I guess I would call it, of some of the things that I've kind of done through the years or come across. And first of all, is just negotiating some of your bills and services, whether that's cable, phone, insurance. I think a lot of us will find out that you can do this when you go to cancel. They're going to give you a new deal. But even if you have no interest in canceling, sometimes calling up these service providers and saying, hey, I'm looking to cancel. I'm going to be switching to this unless you guys can do something for me, and just see what they're willing to do. I don't know if anybody wants to speak to this. I've never done this, but it's, as I was doing some research, I think it's a brilliant move. I know I've gone to cancel stuff and they made an offer to me. And had I a year or two before made those same calls, I'm sure they would have given me the same deal. So anybody want to speak to this? Hey, here's something that I've done. Or obviously cable comes to mind. Like that seems to be the easiest one. I don't know if anybody's done it with their cell phone provider. Anybody want to speak specifically to just calling up, pretending to cancel, getting a better deal? Look,
Yep. Definitely done that one. And it's an absolute great strategy just to call in every 6 months or so and just check in and say, hey, I think I found a better deal. Do you guys have any specials going on? Right. And then I would even elevate that to a manager. Hey, can I chat with a manager? Don't tell them what it's about. And then just ask that manager. I've done it at Verizon quite a few times, and then with Frontier, our cable company, and they, throw some kind of promotion at you because there's always something in the works, So I would definitely suggest that.
yeah. Yeah, and I love like some sort of an email reminder or the reminder app on your phone or something to just go, like, so I've now got that every 6 month reminder to on the credit cards to just ask for a little bit of increase so I can gain on my credit utilization score, James, you're muted I think you're talking. Yep.
Sorry. A couple of things, just back on the mortgage payments and stuff, just basic things like looking at or contacting your lender and making sure you understand how that if you pay on a biweekly schedule, your monthly payment, because interest is applied daily, you can actually take over the course of a 30-year mortgage or something, you can take years off of your, the term of your mortgage, or paying that little bit extra as much as one full payment per year, which most people really wouldn't notice if you're any good at budgeting at all. You can find that little bit extra, and that I think something like for every, I'm going to get this wrong, but for every if you pay one extra payment per year, you take 4 years off the term of your loan. I mean, the numbers are staggering when you look at those, and I think most people don't. I know I didn't until a friend was just talking to me about doing it, and I'm like, wait a minute. And he was my client, and I'd been advising him on buying mortgage and financing and all that stuff, and here he is a year later telling me how he's working the thing down, and now I'm going to do exactly what he shared with me.
Yeah, those are two great tips. I'll put it into like ChatGPT or Perplexity or something. And by the way, guys, I don't think I brought this up, but Perplexity is my new go-to for replacing Google search. If you haven't tried Perplexity, it's kind of like Google meets ChatGPT. It's an app. You can just use the web browser too, but it's more direct in its answers. So I find ChatGPT to be better for like, hey, could you summarize this for me, or could you make this better for me? But if I just wanted to know, like, what was the score last night, what's the tallest mountain, Perplexity is so much better at specific stuff, and I think like this would be one of those things. Hey, if I made two mortgage payments, or if I made my mortgage payment twice a month, right? If my mortgage payment's $2,000, and if I paid 1,000 midway through and 1,000 at the end of the month, how much faster would that end up paying off my loan? It'll give me a better answer. So try Perplexity. I've been using it for a couple of weeks now, and I absolutely love it. After it was recommended to me. So, but a couple of great tips there, James. That as agents, we should definitely be passing this information along to our clients. All right, what else did I have here? So I got a bunch of bullet points. I talked about this before, but please, if you're using one of the major carriers on your cell phone, look and see if there is an alternative. So most of the carriers have a solid alternative that is significantly cheaper. So Xfinity, Visible, Mint, US Mobile, Google Fi, those are some of the companies. Me personally, I think it came out to like $170 in savings a month. I had down on the grocery bills, like using wholesalers, Costco or BJ's or whatever you have in your market it can really make a difference. I was shocked. I was a Costco member probably 8 to 10 years ago, and just came back, and I think we're going to save as a family $200 to $300 a month. I was shocked at how much health food they actually have. They got some pretty quality stuff, and you got to buy some stuff in bulk, but there's a lot of stuff in bulk that is going to hold. If you're late to the cutting the cable game, that one can be massive, and going with something like Fubo or YouTube or Hulu. are some, really great options. Netflix doesn't give you all the channels necessarily, but if you can get down to just a Netflix subscription and an internet connection, I think that could work. Personally, I would love to even get rid of our Netflix. That is going to take some convincing of the wife. I would love to have a household where we don't have any television, but we'll see if I win that battle. Meal prep is something that I think is a so easy. You end up eating so much healthier. Yes, it takes a little bit of time, but that can save you a ton of money from going out to lunch and going out to dinner and all that stuff. As agents, man, we're always like on the road, and you're just eating horribly. I remember in my like hardcore years, it was constant fast food because I was just on the road 7-8 hours a day showing houses, and I wish I had been a little bit more disciplined during those years. Coffee is the big one. I will say on coffee, for those of you guys who are paying for a coffee, daily or multiple times a day, I at this point enjoy my coffee better because I've got it down to exactly how I like it. Than Dunkin', it just seems like it's always a crapshoot on whether they're going to give me the way I like it. Starbucks is a little bit more consistent, but just so violently expensive. And I promise you, it tastes just as good if you want to get the Starbucks plastic cup there and make your own and put it in there. But that one always surprises me. Look, if you're in a financial position where you can afford to go and get coffee every day, but man, it's crazy how much the coffees add up. I wrote down watching your subscriptions, especially when you got kids. I feel like the subscriptions just seem to add up, and for stuff that you're not even using. There were 3 different services that came up when I did some research on this that can go and check for the different subscriptions that you might be subscribing to that you don't even realize that you're paying for. They are called Trim, Hiatus, and Bobby, Bobby. This next one's an interesting one. This is a Mr. Money Mustache one where he talked about like the catalogs and the Groupons and all of that stuff. And where I thought he was going to go with this blog article was he was going to talk about that the Groupons of the world are great because they help you to save, and they do. His take is actually the opposite, which is you want to, if you're trying to work on your finances, remove all marketing that you possibly can, because it's just causing you to purchase stuff that you don't really need, right? So catalogchoice.org is a great, probably the best way to get rid of all the catalogs that are coming to your house, right? So you're getting the catalog thinking, okay, I'm looking for deals. What's really forcing you to do is buy something that you wouldn't have bought. So if we could just not buy it all together, forget the discount. So I would, if you're really looking to get deep on this, I would challenge, look at the emails that are hitting your inbox. Unsubscribe from all the marketing emails from all these different companies. Every time you buy something online from a brand, they're going to hit you with all of their deals. And if you let them hit you enough times, you're going to buy some stuff that you didn't need to buy. So I think the more effective way to do something like this is when you go to buy, now do the research. Hey, I need this. Now use something like Honey or Capital One Shopping or something where they'll go and find coupon codes for you or make sure you're getting the best deal. So trying to opt out of the email marketing, catalogs that are coming to your house, any discount clubs that you're a part of, I think can really help on your savings. Anybody have any thoughts on that stuff or experiences there? Or James?
Yeah, I think that it's always the really, really simple stuff that's important. And I try to go back to, before a lot of technology and the internet and all of this efficiency crowded into our lives, that we used to just do things old school. And you used to go to the store. I used to go to Marshall's and buy clothes and at incredible discounts. I don't know where people live and if they have, but TJ Maxx, that type of thing. And then I got into, because I thought it was more efficient, subscribing to something, clothing line online that I particularly liked. I realized that although I was getting a fabulous discount up front, I was actually linked into some kind of a program where if I didn't buy X amount of product in a period of time, I would then get slammed and the discount would be kind of taken back. And you just get caught in this. It ends up being incredibly time consuming. They're texting you and emailing you daily with new offers. Everything is so distracting. And I just dumped the whole thing, shut them all down, went back to Marshall's, realized it was still there, and walked in, spent a half an hour, bought my entire summer and fall wardrobe for like literally hundreds of dollars. And you can also take back what the return policies are fabulous. No questions asked. You come home, try everything, take half of it back. They take it back without a question. And it's just like reminded me that old school is not so bad sometimes.
Yeah. I think, the marketing's really impressive what these marketers can do. So anybody else want to share an experience or something that you've done that might benefit the group on expenses and optimizing in this area? Jeff and Linda. I think you guys may be muted. We can't hear you. We can't hear you guys. It almost looks like your microphone's not even connected because I don't see the typical you're muted icon. While they're working on their mic, anybody else want to add to the conversation? Let me check messages here. Nothing in messages. Martin, what do you got? You gonna save us some money?
So we have something called My Family Cinema, and it's literally, I think for 4 devices, it's like $60 a year. And granted, it's not like I would say the most legitimate thing, but you have Netflix, Disney Plus, everything you want, every show you want is on there, literally. So spending, Netflix is what, 12, $13 a month. Disney's
I
another
think
10.
at least that. Yeah, I think at
So I
least
mean,
that.
for $60, you literally have everything. And for anybody who like speaks a foreign language, they have stuff from Russia, Poland, if you want shows and movies from there as well. And also, if you're tech savvy, there's something called IPTV, which is also pretty cheap, where you can get channels from Western Mass to California to Boca Raton if you wanted. You just setting it up is kind of a pain, but at the end, instead of spending all this money on cable, we haven't had cable in probably 10 years. And when last time I checked, we spend on like our TV services, probably $100 for the year.
Wow, that's really good. So
What is that called?
my family cinema.
Yeah, MFC, it's called. And like I said, it does have a lot of foreign stuff because my wife likes watching her Polish movies and her Polish shows. So
And the other one was called IPTV.
yeah, those are different types of I forgot what it stands for, but those you can actually, it probably took me a good hour to 2 hours to set it up, but we have all the local channels, and then she has her channels from Europe that she watches live. So
Cool, great share. Jeff and Linda, did you guys figure it out? I think they're still stuck. What's going on? All right, we are at the buzzer. Anybody else want to add to the conversation? Some sort of a money saving, expense optimization tip that you might be using in your life that might help some others? Martin, you got another one?
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty frugal. I always
Okay.
say Facebook Marketplace, always a great thing. We bought a Hollywood dining room set for the outdoor, which those are like $2,000. I at least spent $800 on it, and it was like brand new.
Yeah, when you learn, or excuse me, when you read these kind of personal finance bloggers, they call it living on, what is the term they use? It's like living on the edge of luxury or something. There's a term for this, but basically that, we're so consumer centric in our society. People are buying stuff, barely even using it, and then you're buying it secondhand, but it's pretty much brand new for 50% on, 50 cents on the dollar. So it's, definitely a lot of pushes for Facebook Marketplace or eBay or stuff like that, that if you're looking for something, why buy it brand new? You're going to get something that's basically brand new for 50 to 75 cents on the dollar. So it's a great point. I really should have just even had that on my highlight of bullets. So, second hand stores. It's a great share. Jeff and Linda, you guys were ready?
Are we on?
You're on center
Oh,
square on my
hooray. I
screen.
can't believe I did it. Okay. Victory. I feel really good for today.
All right.
So here's what I do. If anyone is in a position to get a credit card, I get these offers all the time. 0 interest rate for 18 months, 20 months, whatever it is. If you get those offers, always take those credit cards and use those for your expenses and pay them off regularly. And they're giving you free money for whatever it is, 18 months, 12 months, 20. And then when it's getting close to when that card's going to kick into their interest rate, then I get another one that's offering that same deal, and I cancel the one that has just come to the end of its useful life. And I never pay $1 in interest, but I'm also very, very careful with what I put on that card. And they say that if you only use up to 30% of what is offered to you for your overall balance, that's what increases your credit score. So so what they want to see is if they offer you $10,000 of credit, don't use that. Keep it to the 30% point as best you can, right? Or at least average it out, right? And every month, pay down. I like to pay off the credit card at the end of every month, but it gives me that safety net so that, as you were saying, Steve, because we're in a business where we don't know that we're going to be getting the same paycheck in 2 months that we got this month, it gives you that security and that flexibility that we need as agents without paying ever a dime of credit card interest, ever.
Yep, that's a great share. Yeah, the term is credit utilization. So, and that credit utilization score that you're referring to, Linda, is 30% of your overall credit score, right? So that, like you're describing, if the limit on your credit card is 10,000, on that credit card, you don't want to use any more than 3,000. So if you need $6,000 worth of credit card charges, you want to have 2 $10,000 cards. Or like I'm recommending, every 6 months on the cards that you have, go ask for a $2,000 increase, $2,500 increase, something. They're usually going to give it to you that you can keep that gap on your credit. So
right. And it
cool.
just it's a way to get your interest and your credit scores skyrocket with those, which then of course sets you up for the best rates and the best offers on future credit cards for if you need to make a purchase of a vehicle, if you need to buy a home, whatever it is, it's just constantly setting you up for success for what you don't know you might be needing or wanting in the future, which is the way you always want to dwell. That's where you want to be.
Yep. Yeah. And then on top of the 0% interest, a lot of those guys are going to give you $500 if you spend $3,000 in the first 3 months or something, right? Whatever.
Yep,
So there's always some sort of a deal. So it's definitely free money.
Totally.
Cool. All right. We're a little over, but if anybody else has got something, I think the people that are on are interested in this topic. If you've got another share that could save everybody a little bit of money, we're happy to listen to you. All right. Well, I've got 2 more days. Tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit more on investment strategies. Where can we put our money once we are in a position to start investing, and what are the best kind of basic ways to do that? We're not going to get into anything very complicated. I think the simplest strategies are the best. I've read a ton on investment strategies, and what I'm going to present to you guys tomorrow is very, very basic. But I believe no matter what your income levels are, if you're going to invest, I think this is the way to do it. So, and then Friday is going to be real estate specific stuff. Specific to our industry. What are some ways to make sure that you are maximizing and being the most efficient with your, your write-offs and your budgeting and stuff like that. So 2 more action-packed days for you guys this week on personal finance. I appreciate everybody's contributions today. A lot of great stuff, and let's keep this conversation rolling. Everybody can benefit if they can save a buck or two on something in their lives. So share amongst the chat. I'll post today the recap, and if there was something that I missed or that you think of, please add to it. So thanks for joining us, and I'm excited to talk to you guys again tomorrow. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one.